All right, we are live now.
Hello.
Hey, cuz, how are you?
Good, thanks, Kaz. How are you?
Yeah, good. Uh, Welcome back to Indie Faith Podcast. We are on. I've looked at the screen and there was a countdown. So,
If we'll just okay.
um, how are you, cuz? How has your long break been since the last time we recorded?
It's been I think just busy. I can't believe how busy it got.
Yeah.
Like I'm just really excited because it's very fitting. Very fitting for really excited about that. But I've been good. I've been really good. Baby's good. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, good. I'm actually sick now. How are you? Because you were sick last 2 weeks with COVID.
Sucked, man. Like I'm gonna be honest. You know when I'm with COVID, I
Yeah.
used to be like, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty bad. And then they're like, dude, people died. And I'm like,
Damn.
so they were trying to explain like COVID, like some people get really, really sick, others, yeah, it wasn't. Have you gotten it yet, Cuz?
No, no,
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah, I've been blessed, but yeah, I haven't had it. Um, but I think I've had it before, like when we first got hit with COVID in 2020, because we were in LA. Is it 2019?
Oh, that's
We were,
right. You
yeah,
were.
December 2019. Yeah. And then Brody and I had like really bad well, I had mild pneumonia and Brody
Yeah.
was pretty sick as well around then. And amazingly we were able to board the flight. Yeah, so when we landed,
The beginning stages of it.
yeah, so Australia hadn't gone to lockdown then. So
Yeah.
by that time, because it was January when we arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was in hospital and um just trying to oh wait, so when we landed, I ended up in hospital that same day. And
Yeah.
then the doctors were like they couldn't figure out I was in there for a while and they said yeah, I can't figure out why it's so your symptoms are so serious when it's only mild pneumonia.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they kept me overnight. Yeah. But back then, yeah, there was nothing that was unheard of COVID, and then 2 months later, then the whole breakout happened. So I
Yeah.
think I had it. I don't know, it was just really bad. Like if it
Yeah.
was anything like what I was going through then, yeah, if it's like I yeah, don't underestimate it at all.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so we've switched up our podcast. We are making it a little bit more interesting rather than just like going straight into serious topics.
Yeah.
And our segments before we were trialing it, and yeah, it kind of fizzled out at the end there. So now we've just got two segments. So our first segment is the pop topic, and if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you would have seen our stories. So today's pop topic is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. Have you heard much about that?
What you Instagram? So I started
Mm,
seeing reels and everything.
yeah,
Like I heard first when she first came out with the accusations and everything.
yeah,
Like it was way back. Like the trial was only just started now, but I remember
mm,
and I was because I had never heard of anything like that. I was
yeah,
like, I was already a bit skeptical of what she was saying because I was like, usually it's like someone repeating the women or like all women would stuff like that. So I've only seen or heard about it, but now it's like everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So I've heard about it and I've been looking it up on YouTube. It's interesting. What about you, Kaz? Have
Yeah.
you been watching it too?
I've been keeping up to date with the trial, but I think the trial before, so the court case before, I think years ago, was Johnny Depp versus I think the magazine that posted, that he abused Amber Heard,
Oh,
and then now, yeah,
yeah.
and then now he's suing Amber Heard for defamation. And then now she's countersuing. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a bizarre trial. Like,
It's so weird. Like,
like yeah, like Amber Heard's lawyers, they're as wacko as she is.
because obviously it's such a public type of trial.
Mm,
And it's a celebrity, so I don't know if that's why they just like, yeah, questions and the objections.
I know. Eh? Yeah, so she's for anyone that hasn't, heard of the trial, so she's accused Johnny Depp of abusing her. She's even come out with photos that she's got bruises and swelling and all that. And I think this has gone on for years, and then now he's suing her because like his whole reputation has been damaged by the article that she put up accusing him, and it's affected his family as well. And he claims that he's never touched her.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So, and he's actually come out with photos that show his bruises and cuts and everything. But so far, I'm not sure if the trial's ended yet, but he's had so many witnesses.
yeah,
Basically, it's been like validated that, well, to anyone who's watching, it just proves that yeah,
it's
she's
annoying.
she's made shit up, yeah. And anyways, I was thinking about this trial, and I was thinking, what if it was like what are your thoughts on women abusing men? Just say that this comes out and he is innocent and she's, guilty of abusing him. What are your thoughts on that? Like in general?
I think it goes. I think as a woman, um, is that how rights and we should get the same rights as men and be treated the same as
Mm,
men.
yeah.
Situations like this, circumstances like this, downplayed for the guys.
Yeah.
Like women abusing men, no one takes it as seriously as man abuses a woman.
Mhm.
And I think that's what my issue was with this whole thing, because it people were even Disney, how they already uh, assumed he was guilty and he wasn't able to do certain movies.
Yeah.
He has a right to sort of sue her because he has
Mm,
like. But yeah, but in today's society, I think it's equal for both. So if
yeah.
a guy can go to jail for beating up, it because she's not as physically strong, like stronger than the guy, it still doesn't give her
Yeah.
the right to put hands.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I 100% agree. Like I think with the sorry to say, but I think with the Me Too movement, um, there are I've noticed that there have been a few women take advantage of that movement. Like
Yeah,
I'm not saying that there isn't actual domestic violence against women. Um, like that's like definite real thing, but I think there are some women out there that are using and abusing that movement and just to get what they want.
absolutely.
And yeah, and like it's just freaking hypocritical. Like, um, but like that. Like in this case, like what you said, like straight away men would be arrested,
Mm-hmm.
and in this case, like yeah, she might lose. If she loses the case, she loses money, but I didn't hear that she's going to be arrested
Yeah,
for abusing him. She's like throwing a vodka bottle that's cut his finger.
yeah,
She's punched him, pulled his hair, everything. Had that been reversed, man,
hmm,
straight jail for men.
yeah.
But women for some reason can get away with that. Um,
Like when
but
Chris Brown, you know how Chris Brown beat up Rihanna, and
mm,
he got super punished for what he did. Like I
oh yeah,
and everything, but she's just blown up, and he's sort of as popular as he once was. Like
yeah.
people don't sort of. So I think
I
that's
know,
so.
yeah.
It's like for me. Oh yeah, when a guy does it, this is how badly they get punished.
Mm,
It's so low key. It's so um down. They
yeah,
make it seem so minuscule.
yeah, yeah. I reckon. And what do you call it? She still got Aquaman too.
That's like how
Yeah, I know. um,
beast anymore, but she still gets to do Aquaman too.
yeah. What are your thoughts on if they were if this was a case and they were both Samoan or Islander?
How you sent me
Yeah.
like I was already like loving the topics and everything, and then I saw you or what if it was someone, and I just could not stop laughing because I was like, ah, families we're a lot different to I guess because they're so mainstream and they're so public and they're so they're celebrities. Unfortunate because as much as I hear abuse the women,
Mm,
like that's just what I think. Like growing up, I would hear a lot more stories of men abusing the women, but there are cases where some women put hands on their men.
oh yeah.
They do, and I think because how just as dramatic as it is with just very uh very out there with our I don't know if like we had to do it because he did this or
Mhm.
he did this to me, he did do this. Um,
Yeah.
but I still think it's the same bad as if a man had done it to a woman. I still think,
Yeah.
regardless of what gender and what nationality you are, it's still not good.
Yeah. I've noticed that trend though over time that back in the day it was, the domestic violence you always heard it was, men abusing the women.
Yeah,
And that was like a real thing. And then in this day and age, it's reversed. I'm hearing a lot of women abusing men. And say with like even Samoans, like and I could speak for Samoans because I'm Samoan, and what I see in the Samoan community is like, back in the day, like you said, when we were younger, like you saw a lot of it was like the man was the head of the house and he could do whatever he want. And and I did see a lot of that, them fussing their wives. But now I see a lot of women sort of um I don't know, they're a lot more masculine now.
yeah, and I think
Like
they have a lot more confidence.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, like I don't know what's kind of shifted over time, but maybe because of movements like Me Too, that people are now bringing all of that to light. And now women are sort of a lot more like it's safer for them to come out and say that they've been abused by men. So they're getting punished a lot more. Whereas back then they would just throw it under the rug kind of thing. So now, I think that confidence in that, they feel safe to come out. Um, it has maybe that's changed it, but yeah, I see a lot of women sort of tell their some women sort of tell off their husband, or the kids are more scared of their mom than they are
Yeah.
of their dad. And the dad's like, um, yeah, so even like TikTok videos making fun of it and that, like,
Yeah.
um, what's that guy? Him and his daughter, all his life.
Oh, yes.
All his life? Is
Yeah.
that, yeah, you know how he makes jokes like, he's
Yeah.
always scared of his missus? Yeah,
The
it's like that kind of stuff.
yeah.
You see a lot of that
He's a
now.
little too much.
Yeah. So, like, that dynamic is like I've noticed a shift in these days, like that, yeah, men are more afraid of women now.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
generation, because I know the generation before us, it was like, what they tell them to do, like they listen and,
Mm,
sort of tell them and, they're told. But I think
yeah.
our generation, there's a lot more, like I said, confidence, and they have a lot more courage to scared, I suppose,
Mm,
talk to their husbands a certain way, to be super front. But it doesn't, I still don't think it's, I like that. But then
yeah.
you behind closed doors on their partners.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think that's women are able to, and um, these sorts of topics. And if we have something to say now, we say it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, like you said, the Me Too movement. People are
Mm,
as women. Just
mm,
because we're women, that we do the bad things that men used to do too. Like I don't.
yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
I don't know.
100%. Yeah. Um, oh, I had this thought as well. Um, like I'll put it on the table there. There was one time where Rob and I had a fight, and I had thrown a phone at his head,
Yeah.
and it was a really ugly fight. But
Mm.
he said to me, like, and now like I'm guilty of that, and what he said to me on that day kind of stuck with me for the rest the rest of our relationship, and it just never ever happened again after
Yeah.
that. But he was is actually, so like, he came up to my face and he said, it's unfair, like, that you can do that to me.
Mm.
Like, I could do that to you, but like, I won't. But for you to do that to me is so unfair. Um, yeah, like, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, it was a
Yeah.
lot deeper than that, and he was very emotional, and I was like, yeah, nah, that was really really toxic. But yeah, I think because, like, just being honest, I think because of how these days, like, um women can get away with it, um that might be like that definitely played a big reason why, like, it was so easy for me to just throw something at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, had it been
I
the
don't think
other way
you're
around, oh, like, it would
I
have,
don't think you're
yeah.
the only one who's done that, because like I'm guilty of it too. Like it's moments where you throw something at that person and it hit or whatever. Um,
Mm,
I think acknowledge doesn't happen again, like you said,
yeah.
then that's we know it's not right. Deep down, we know it's not right. Like you said, if it was
Yeah.
like caught each other, we'd be like, he put hands on me.
Yeah.
You know
Mm,
what I mean? So I think you're right in that sense where if it was the other way, totally different. Um,
Yeah.
but moving forward, we just
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah. That was yeah, that was I think that was something that was sort of I felt really important to sort of just tackle today, um
Yeah.
because I'm finding that, in general there's a lot of that happening, and
Mm,
contributes to a lot of, reasons why sort of men and their mental health situations these days are so much worse than, back in the day. um and yeah, and that, like, sort of just to put it out there, that it's just equally as wrong
mm,
if a woman was to abuse a man than it is, for a man to abuse a woman.
absolutely.
um
That's my
all right. um all right, so
sorry.
sorry.
Have you still been watching before when I was like,
Yeah, I don't know if it's finished now, but yeah, like some of the, the other thing that she was doing was throughout their relationship, she used to record him secretly, and that's where all these like audio recordings, video recordings are coming out. And it's just disgusting. Like, you could tell somebody's like that toxic enough to, hit record and then hide the phone, and then it's as if you're not going to antagonize the person because now you're recording, so you need
yeah,
something. Yeah. Ugh, she's just
like the whole audio stuff. I'm just like, it sounds like you just he tried, and then you get
yeah,
all like, don't leave me. You causing. I was like,
yeah.
he's trying to leave.
And there was she put a restraining order on him as well.
Mhm.
But then she goes to him at his hotel, um, walks into the bathroom. I don't even know how the hell she managed to get in the room.
Yeah,
But apparently the poor guy's showering and she's like walking in there and asking for a hug.
what's the behavior? Looking at the shower, she's like, give me a hug. But she's just, yeah, okay.
I know. And then she was like crying and saying how she just wanted to hug him and she missed him, and yeah, hug goodbye.
That's how you
And
know
she's like,
she's not all
get out.
like there's something mentally like
Oh yeah. They did have a psychologist, I think. On the witness stand, and she said something about her mental health.
yeah,
Um, Something about, I don't know what the terms are, but yeah, she's definitely got something wrong with her.
yeah. She's also like there's something about
Yeah, yeah. She's such a weirdo. The fact that she was with Elon Musk as well. uh, how was that? Elon just bought Twitter.
I saw that and I was like, man,
I love. I know way. If I just just having that much money is like, oh, I don't like this post. Like, I'll just buy the whole thing. He said he was gonna buy Coca-Cola as well or something. I don't know if that was a joke, but he said, yeah, we're gonna buy it and put go back to the olden days where they used to put cocaine in Coca-Cola.
I saw that.
And then I saw some of the comments and they were like, "Oh, we're a, third world country and that. Can you can you give us some money?" To buy Twitter and Coca-Cola, but there's people starving.
That doesn't sound more than that was like
Yeah, say Elon. um yeah.
a topic. I was really happy when you came at me with that topic because I was like, that's a good topic.
Yeah, definitely something that needs to be raised with our women, like, and coming from a women, like you said, from women, like you said. um Yeah, it's not right. Um, the I did a poll to see who what people thought who will win, Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, and seven there was zero for Amber Heard, and there was seven for Johnny Depp. So um, make that nine with us too. This is poor guy. Oh, actually, there was another thing I wanted to raise is that do you find that women these days are they're selective with the men that they pick in relationship? Like if I'm fine, like I don't know, just my opinion, but I'm finding that a lot of women are looking for men that are sort of appear weaker. Like for
Wow.
example, like in this case, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, like he
Yeah.
does seem like that kind of fragile.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the age gap between them two as well. And then even like just like being with Elon Musk, he doesn't seem like somebody who is very like what's the word?
Like dominant.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
I don't know if it's men are choosing to go for these days. I think you might be easily manipulated, especially a guy of like that stature and has that.
mm,
I do notice a lot of girls my age um, go for a specific.
yeah.
So most of these they obviously want someone who has a stable job, has their own property or owns their own home, and I think they're gravitating towards guys who as another guy.
Mm.
But I think to girls, I'm trying to think about.
Just say it,
I
cuz. Just say it. What is it? Raging
think girls,
Swimmers.
look obviously looking for sugar daddies and someone who can take care of them, and I think that's what I dislike in a bad name, where
Mm.
we as women, what can we offer? Like we're too focused on what the guy can give us, the guy how they can provide for us. But if you can't
Yeah.
do that, you shouldn't be looking for a man. You should be looking for.
Yeah.
Well, that's just what I think. You should be looking for, find your,
100%.
find, keeps you happy, keeps you grounded, and yourself, and growing within yourself.
Mm.
Latch onto a man, and then abuse the man, and then take advantage. It's shit, because if it was the other way around, it would be all over every freaking
Mm.
post, every story, every reel.
Yeah.
Her, he did this to her, he did this to her. But with women, it's like she's well, you weren't saying that
Mm.
with this equal rights movement. You
Yeah.
weren't saying that with this um so yeah, that's just what I think women now who are weaker men,
Yeah.
but we won't mention names because oh yeah, just what
Yeah.
do you think? Has
Yeah, I think so.
you noticed that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm noticing that a lot, like, and it ties in with why women sort of feel a lot more confident to lay hands on men as well.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of like even and it's not even just like celebrities. You see it in everyday, like you said, you know, um, women around us, like in everyday life, and that when they're looking for a man, they have all these sort of like, you know, like a checklist of things that they, expect in the man and that, and it's a lot of, I'm seeing a lot of, you know, being with them to fulfill, whatever shit void that they're missing in their lives.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, it's just disgusting. Like um yeah, yeah, like I mean, being like as somebody who's been in a long-term relationship, like me and Rob, we've like gone through how many ups and downs. And like it's not until probably, I don't know, over 10 years later that we finally, found that common ground.
Yeah.
And that, like, um there's no one that's stronger than the other one. There's no one that's like, weaker. We're both sort of um at equal grounds. And I think that's because recently we've both fixed, ourselves.
Yeah.
um so we haven't sort of, um felt like, I don't know, like like we've filled that void individually, that now we kind of sort of work really good as a team.
Yeah.
um
That's
Yeah,
definitely
whereas like these days, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that, especially when, there's some women who flick through Tinder and stuff. And it's
that.
like, I don't know if that's like the qualification as well, to see if they have a lot of money and if they look weak.
Yeah. Be like,
But I find that, yeah, I find that energy shift where women are becoming a lot more masculine now,
mm,
and men are becoming a lot more feminine,
yeah.
which isn't a bad thing. I mean,
I don't
like,
think it's a bad thing at all, as long as it's
yeah,
like equal and treat
yeah,
them well, and that's completely fine if someone's relationship done.
yeah,
But obviously, if one's not happy with it and you are,
yeah, yeah. All right, have justice for Johnny
man,
Depp.
if anyone comes for me about
Yeah,
and stuff like, she's the abused, and I'm like, no, she is.
yeah.
I
I
didn't
mean,
touch
it's like,
you, Johnny. I just hit you.
I know. Wait, what is that?
I was like,
But yeah,
okay. Listen.
I just tickled you. She should have said that.
Yeah, trying to give you a hug.
Oh, what about that? I think it was 2 days ago. Um, she walked out of the court, and there were, how they had the media people outside, and you just hear this one lady at the back, and she's like, um, "Why did you poop in his bed? Why did you?" She was so yeah, she was so passionate though. Like, like she was so hurt. Why did you? The disgrace! How dare you? But yeah, that's where the name Amber Turd came from. So
Let's
all
ruin some.
right. Mm. All right, we'll move on to our main topic. So this one's another deep one. How to get out of a rut. So have you ever experienced a bad situation, that you thought you'd never be able to get out of?
Um, and I don't. How did I express what I'm trying to say? Um, but I feel like it in stages, and it can happen. You can get into a rut. Uh,
Mm,
there's no age limit or anything like that. I didn't think. I think tells me, even though I'm in a rut, I'll eventually get out of it. I've never been in the never going to get out of it.
yeah,
And ruts where I'm just like it's
yeah,
not forever, if that makes.
yeah. Um, I should have given it a bit more context.
Okay.
So, No, 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 me. It was I just thought about it when you were answering. So like for I don't know how to explain it, but like a rut is like when you're um deep in a bad situation where you're um depressed, going through anxiety,
Yeah.
etc. And you just feel like there's no one that can save you. There's no one that
Mm.
you can't get out of that. Um, so like what I'm noticing with a lot of our youth, especially, is that they get caught up in these situations, and they don't um sort of feel like anyone. They don't reach out for someone to help them. They
Yeah.
just sort of suffer alone, and they just dig themselves deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
um Yeah, so with my experience, there was a year where I was just so miserable in my job, and I think I've mentioned it before, where it was like, you're stuck in a job that you can't stand. At that time, I just had Brody,
Yeah.
and it was like I couldn't find. It was hard to find a babysitter at that time. Um, so I had my little brother look after him. I think it was about he just finished high school, I think. So he was inexperienced. He's never really looked after, anyone before. But yeah, so it was like that. Um, every chance I get, I had to call him, make sure Brody was okay and all of that. And then at the same time, we were also living with family. Um, So it was like, as much as I love my family, you just never had that sort of privacy within, just your own little family. So that was like also, just piling up. Um, and then I think Rob went from a full-time job to casual as
Yeah.
well around that time. And then uh we had a whole bunch of family dramas as well around that period. And then also in that period, I resigned.
Yeah.
um, so like yeah, and then um, when I resigned, a couple of days later, we got an email that we were getting kicked out of our house as well, and
Mhm.
that wasn't just me and my little family, that was the whole family. And at that time as well, I was the one that was organizing. Like, I was pretty much um looking after the finances and making sure that bills were paid and that. So um yeah, it was also on my shoulders to look for yeah, yeah. So it was just like everything, like just piling up at that time, and I just felt like I remember there was this one night or one day where I couldn't get out of bed, like I
Mhm.
legit like couldn't move, and um, like Rob would come in with Brody, and he'd like and as much as like I love my son with all my heart, even like having him in the room, I just didn't have the energy to get up and sort of love him like I should, play with him and that. I was just so out of it. And Rob was like, um I think we were both at like that sort of last straw. Like, he didn't know what to do, I didn't know what to do. And then he was like, "Yeah, you need to see a counselor." And then around there, with high depression and high anxiety. And yeah, it was a year that was like
Very
I
hard for
honestly
you.
did not see myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could not see myself get out of that. And because I was like, the one that was organizing everything, I was everybody relied on. It felt like I just had no one like that I could turn to.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I could not see the light at the end of that tunnel.
100%.
But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that was my experience of a time when I was stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any specific like moments where um just thought that there was just no one around that could help you?
Um, a specific time will be like the most recent, which is like you already know, through a separation um from my, and then from there having to, sort of my own place with my baby, and then trying to balance and
Yeah.
like been difficult.
Yeah.
It was that sort of period difficult, really stressful, and I felt like, oh my gosh. Because then, like, when I would reach out to people and let them know, hey, I need to find a place, places, and you get rejected, left, right, and end.
Yeah.
You just like throw me a bone. Can you just just give me one more?
Yeah.
I will, trying to, I've been trying to explain to her, all the changes that's happening, and then taking her to school and working has been
Mm.
really.
Yeah.
So for me, it's I don't feel like I'm in it now. Uh, Previously,
Yeah.
like in this ride and feeling really down and very stressed and super anxious and very stuff like specific time that I could think of. That was the
Mm.
where it just, yeah, you just feel like you're getting pounded like
Yeah.
in all directions. Um, yeah, so that's my most recent cause.
Yeah. And how did you get yourself out of out of a rut, or out of
I
that rut
think,
and whichever?
yeah, right now, I think my biggest enemy is myself.
Mm.
Sometimes you think, I know there's times where I feel like I'm alone.
Yeah.
Go to my friends, my tight close friends, to people, but I think mentally my big, because I'm so full of doubt, so full of, I get it sometimes
Yeah.
where I just keep telling myself like, you're failing as a mom, a worker, you're failing as a provider. You get into this,
Yeah.
but I think I said before, I always know it's last. I think that's what I tell myself, even when I'm that depressed and that angry. I always know it's temporary.
Yeah.
So I just surrender to it sometimes, just surrender to the way I want them to go. Like,
Mm.
as soon as you do that, I'm just like, well, I just have to take it as it comes, to deal with whatever I get. And I think what also helps me is just being grateful.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time being like, this person's got this and this. But if you step back, take a minute to look at what you actually do have,
Mm.
see that you have a lot more than someone else. And I think that's, there's always someone who's got it a lot harder than me, or, it's always, you know, when, I do have a lot, to live for. I do have,
Mm.
a roof over my head. I've got baby and stuff like that. So I think I have to, like I said, surrender to the stuff that I'm not happy with.
Yeah.
I can't control. And then I have to just let each day come. Just take it.
Yeah.
What about you, Kaz?
What do you mean by take it?
So you know how, you're getting rejected for me recently was getting rejected from home and out with other alternatives. We're trying to explain to my baby we're going to be moving in with these people because mummy, and then you find out that can't actually happen, so you go to another option again, and then you options. Actually, about too a lot during that period. I was just like, oh my god, the stress.
Yeah.
It's just told me, there's always going to be other one that you want, um, but it is so you do have options. You're not going to be homeless. You're not going to be. You're not going to be okay, whether or not you get a place or not, or you're going to be okay.
Yep.
And I think take and then taking each day as it comes. I was like, okay, today get a house plan. Plan B. You keep saying there's plan B.
Mm.
So many different plans. You go back to plan. Like you said, as long as you might not be what you want, but you're going to be okay at the end of the day. So
Mm.
each day as it comes, be
Yeah.
grateful for what you do get, and then when I did that, as soon as I did that, that's when I got a place.
Yeah. That was so amazing. And
Yeah,
that was it was almost like freakishly yeah,
yeah,
freakishly amazing. Just the coincidence and everything, and
yeah,
how everything ended up like aligning for you.
yeah.
And that was really cool. Like
Like I said, another one is like being in contact with, especially when
Mm,
you need to talk to someone, man.
yeah.
You need to keep someone in the loop, because it's too heavy,
Yeah.
on the one person. And that person's going to find your place or talking to someone, and they just give you that sort of nudge that you need.
Yeah.
Like keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys.
That's amazing, cuz like you did really well.
Oh, you did really well. I think it was in your health. So I'm just gonna.
um I think for me, there was that time when I got like the breaking, well, after everything that I went through in the, what I was explaining before, how I was in a
Yeah,
rut. The thing that snapped me out of it was when I got diagnosed. And when they said that, okay, you got high depression, high anxiety, and then they were looking at, all this other stuff that, I should take, I should do, and blah blah. And it was I don't know, something about the reality of that scared me.
yeah,
um and then I came downstairs, and I sat outside because I was waiting for a lift, and it was like, it was dark, and it was cloudy, and um something about that just really hit me deep. And I don't know if it was because, a lot of our family sort of are in that, situation where they're um you could just see that they're depressed, and you can see how miserable they are, and that. And like for me, it was just like a flash of looking at that, their life. And then I was like, do I want to go down that rabbit hole? And seeing how they are now, I love them to death. But where you see that, see what their life is like now, and they're older, um it scared me. And I was like, if I was to go and believe that, yes, I have high depression, high anxiety, and I fall into that sort of trap of just keep thinking that, just keeping that mentality, um and not do something about it. um yeah, I just seen my life like that. and I didn't want that. So I was like, that day, I was like, nah, it's either that I go down that rabbit hole and be like, the rest of, be like, you know, previous generations, be like, people in our family, or, I find a different route and then do something completely opposite. And it was when I decided that I'm going to do something completely opposite, honest, I'm not even lying, the sun came out. And just came out through the clouds. I was like, "Oh, yes,
Oh, that's
I was like,
so
I took that sign. I
yeah,
definitely took that sign.
yeah. It was a sign that
um, yeah, and then yeah, through that, I went home, sort of took it in, and then I think the next day I was on my way to work, and then on the train, I just started looking up randomly. I think I mentioned this before, where I just randomly look up motivational videos,
yeah,
and it was going through that. It was just like a domino effect after that, and then I got introduced to the law of attraction, and things that keep you, like the power of positivity and all that. And then yeah, it just, like, to this day, it's completely done a 180 in my life. Um,
it
but
really has been
that
yeah.
that was yeah, like that was the journey that I took, and I'm actually noticing. I honestly thought I was the only one that was aware of that, like law of attraction and all of that. But I'm actually seeing, like, now, a lot of islanders that are actually open about their journey as well. Is similar to my one.
Yeah,
And it's amazing how you've seen that the shift in them as well, with those practices and those techniques, and how it sort of elevated them to a completely different level. You've had, like, people who are in prison or in gangs, and
yeah,
just those, using those techniques and that, from those practices, it's just changed them.
yeah,
And now they're like, I've seen now, there was one that's now an entrepreneur. um Others that have gotten into, like, other arts, like creative arts, that sort of get them into you know something more positive rather than negative, because there's two routes that you go to when you're in a rut, and that's either negative or positive.
yeah,
um and I think it's like a lot of our youth, in that, like, I can understand why somebody who's in that situation, and would turn to gangs, would turn to something negative, a negative outlet. um yeah, that was kind of my journey, and it was a like, going through all of that was then a domino effect to prioritize my mind. So
yeah,
my body might not be my body might not be a priority, but my mind, like, ever since I focused on that, like, my confidence, regardless of how I look, it's just,
yeah.
like, been the best thing that's ever happened.
Because like you're full shining and glowing these days. Like I know, like when you text me, like, oh, my body hasn't changed, but my mind. But I love that for you. Um, like you're a prime example of how. Right.
Mm,
What would you say
yeah.
about that though? Because you feel like they're stuck in a rut and they have no hope. Or, yeah,
Mm, yeah. It's Yeah, it's hard, because, like, we both know that we've given that advice to people in our circle, and it's like, you can only give so much advice, and they don't, like, it's up to them whether they take it or not. But mine's always been the same, as, like, I think that you know perception is such a big thing, and sometimes can be so simple that if you look at, exactly like you said, gratitude, be grateful for what you do have,
Yeah.
um and like just shifting that kind of energy to from something like, um negative to like to a positive feeling. That little step actually opens up, your heart and your mind, to then sort of, then you can take the next step, which is like, okay, well, how can you get yourself out of it?
Yeah.
um i I think for me, like, um just going from experience, I mean, like, the only person that can help is yourself. And you know it's that ownership and accountability as well. Like, we don't often like to hear those two words, ownership and accountability.
Yeah.
um because for us it's easier, for the other person to do all the hard work. It's easier for, like, the other person to make the effort, and easier to blame someone else.
Yeah.
But it um like, and I notice, a lot of people in that, in a rut, would be quick to blame other people for the reason why they're in it. I think the first step is to take that accountability, that it might not be their fault.
Yeah.
It might be your fault.
Yeah.
um
Like, did you have
but
a
yeah,
play in that situation? And
yeah, yeah. Like, if you have that mindset, then like, you're the one that's keeping yourself in that rut. um in that, like, no matter how many times someone else will try and help you, you won't learn because you haven't taken that ownership.
mm,
That, the reason why you're in a rut, it could be, your is because of yourself. um but yeah, like, for me, I find that once you start taking that ownership and accountability, um you know y- you then sort of, um start doing like the hard work. And I think
mm,
that's another reason why people um don't like to take accountability, is because they know that it's going to be hard work for them to get
yeah.
themselves out. So it's easier to blame somebody else, because then it's like, well, I don't have control of my situation because it's their fault.
Mm,
um yeah, I think, like, that would be the first step.
yeah.
Is yeah, taking taking ownership.
Mm.
What about you?
No, I agree with you too, because honestly, person stopping you from doing what you want to do, end of the day, is yourself.
Mm, yeah.
Not to move, then of course you're going to stay stuck. That sort of mindset, not go anywhere, because you're not, being,
Mm,
you're not being, um, you're being accountable. You're just waiting. So I think to get comfortable,
yeah.
and get to happiness, because giving someone else making you happy is automatically like a failure. Like, relying on someone else to give you something you can really give yourself.
Yeah.
It's no one else's responsibility to, make, do all this stuff for you when you're not doing anything for you.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel slack, because I know it's a lot easier said than done.
Mhm.
But I think, like you said, the first step would, the second you do that, it will fall into place. Sort of. It might not, dramatic change, but I think those little baby steps, eventually you want to go,
Yeah.
and then you just keep and all those goals off your list, because you're still,
Yeah. Um I think like yeah, definitely easier said than done. But at
Mm.
the same time, I also think that like I think we make it harder. We
Mm.
make the situation harder
Yeah.
for than it actually is. Like
Mm.
like there are like if sometimes if you take a outside perspective, like look outside the box sort of thing, sometimes you'll find that it's just a quick win that you can just like there's something inside you that you need to change and that will open up a lot of doors for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of us get so buried into it's too hard. I can't do it, and you just sort of fall into that belief that you just don't. You're restricting yourself from seeing anything, you know, um any way out.
Yeah.
Like you've turned your own lights off, sort of thing. Um, but like why ownership and accountability is so important is because you have you need to do that hard work. Like you have to go through that yourself,
Yeah.
because it's the process of learning how to solve those problems. If you do it yourself and not rely on anybody else,
Mm.
that makes you grow. Like, and you're also not relying on other people, because like relying on other people is always going to result in disappointment,
Yeah.
always.
Absolutely.
But like if you figure out how to do it on your own, um how to solve that problem on your own, like just the you're unstoppable after that. Like what else can get to you? You figured out how, from a terrible situation, you've managed to crawl out of that hole on your own,
Yeah.
um because you've sort of opened up your mind to figure out like how to problem solve.
Mm.
I think we underestimate our own abilities, and I see too many of us islanders saying, "Oh, I'm too dumb, I'm too broke,"
Mm-hmm.
um, and I'm weak. What
It's
else?
too.
Yeah, it's too late
Mhm.
for me.
Too
I hate
old.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's just so many of those words that we keep speaking to ourselves, or we keep saying to ourselves, that we end up believing it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not any words that someone else has told you, that's you saying that to yourself, and it's just sort
Mm-hmm.
of stuck in your mind, that now it's like that you're just living day by day doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
um but like I get that there are situations where it's can be beyond your control. um you know um Trying to think of an example. um
But
it's
you're
like
right.
when you felt like, sorry.
So what were you saying, Kath?
Like for when you felt like you've done everything you can, to actually no, that was that was a bad example, but yeah. I think like like you said, giving advice to someone else, I think you can lead what's the say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Mm. um and for anybody in a rut, I think we all got to realize that um the only thing that we have 100% control of is ourselves. Yeah.
Like only you can control
um
you and your emotions, what you want to do.
yeah.
So when you're ready to do,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And like Mary said, like what you said, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Like that's where the answer to your problems is
yeah,
is outside of your comfort zone. um if you're wondering, like whether, yeah, how you can get out of it, that's where you start, where you're most scared.
yeah.
I also heard I've had this quote for years now,
Mm.
and it was also a quote that I read when I was in a rut, and it helped me. put things in perspective. I don't know who it's by, but it's pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice.
I like that
Pain
one.
is inevitable, suffering is a choice. And I 100% believe that.
So true. Yes.
Yeah. Um, and I think when I when I read that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably thinking that now. When I read it, I was like, "You don't know."
I've been through what I've been through.
I know you don't know what like what I'm suffering. But then, like when you actually, and that's like it goes back to perspective. When you
Mhm.
when you're open minded about things, and you actually really sort of read that again and again and again until you get it, you realize it really is a choice. Um, like um there's some people where I've seen that they think that they can't they're in a situation and they think that nothing good is coming their way.
Yeah.
um and sometimes it's just as simple as like go to work every day so
Mhm.
that you can get that consistent money. Or um you've got a lot of health problems, or you've got a lot of you're going through depression, but to you a solution is to drink alcohol,
Mm,
get pissed every day so that you don't have to face it. The answer is right there. You got to face it. You got to
mm,
face whatever it is that's holding you back. Whether it's by counseling, like there's nothing wrong with counseling. And like actually open up to someone. Let them help you. Like a lot of times, people are so depressed, but then when someone tries to help them and they don't like the advice that they're given, they're like, oh nah, don't worry about it. And
mm.
then like they'll only pick and choose what kind of
Yeah.
advice that they take.
Yeah.
um yeah, like that's where like that again is a choice.
Mm.
But yeah, but that's all I have. I think that there's a lot like we could go into,
I
especially
reckon
like
we always do like a part two too, because
yeah.
like massive topic and it happens every day and friends. Yeah, but reach out, man. I think that's get out of that rut. Well, not what you get out of it, but if you like are ready to reach out to someone who
Yeah.
can sort of give you that.
Yeah. Oh, and that was another thing. Like, don't shit on people for being positive.
A lot of people do that.
Hmm. I think like, when you're triggered by something, it's usually always something that you're projecting. You're triggered by something that you're triggered by.
Yeah.
Like that you do sort of thing. You get and I think a lot of people who and like I must like I was the same. Like when you're in a rut, the last thing you want to hear is, "Oh, think positive." But sometimes, like I said, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as just switching your perspective, be more, grateful, be
Yeah.
more positive, be more, and like it has been scientifically proven that it opens up neurons in your brain that then you can sort of um start attracting a lot more positivity into your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I really wanted this to be a live and interactive, but I've been checking and we have no one in the in the live.
That's what we
But
have
I
us.
really did want to hear other people's like thoughts and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Probably
But yeah,
commented or send messages, and that's cool.
yeah. So for all our listeners or viewers, yeah, just yeah, drop a comment, follow us on Instagram. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I haven't tried out Twitch yet, but yeah, those are the oh, and YouTube, Spotify. So yeah, drop a comment. whatever your thoughts are on this, on any of these topics. Actually, we'd love to hear it. But yeah, we'll try and do the same next time, next episode,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll have maybe one person at least.
That's cool.
Nah, nah,
Each other.
I'll like, and yeah, like it's an open forum. I'm happy if somebody even jumps in and sort of like, you're full of shit. I'm happy to take that one as well.
Yeah.
um, yeah. But it was, man, we haven't recorded in how many
I
months?
honestly, I remember us doing a quick little thing for another one of our fellow, that we follow and stuff. But I
Mm.
honestly, I was like, well,
Yeah, I think it was Christmas, our Christmas special. That was the last one.
crazy.
Yeah.
And
And
it's already
so this
May.
is our, yeah. So this is our first episode together in 2022. But yeah, man, we have like so much going on this year. Um, and it's like probably no coincidence. We're both our birthdays are on the 22nd. So this year has been we were saying last year, next year is gonna be our year. And
Yeah.
it definitely has. We've been busy as
How else to describe the busyness? But yeah.
yeah. But but yeah, so there's another reason why we're on what do you call it? Riverside. Yeah. All right. Did you want to add anything else?
I'm recording. It's been too long.
Yeah, yeah, it really has. And it's so good to hear from you again as well.
It's a good system.
All right, guys. Yeah, follow us, Indie Faith Podcast, on all platforms we just mentioned. Uh yeah, and see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.